So, one of my favorite activities, no matter how much someone has learned about neurodiversity, is to start like this. You take your right hand, you put it in front of you, and you say strengths.
Strengths.
Yep. So, these are the things that you're naturally good at. We all have some. And then with our left hand, we'll pick it up, put it pretty close to our right hand, and we could say challenges.
Challenges.
Mm-hmm. So we can look at this experience like a neurotypical person, and then take your hands, put them outside your shoulders. And then here say neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent.
There you go. So now you can put your hands down. And the point that I want to make with that exercise is that we all have strengths, we all have things that we struggle with. But for a neurodivergent person, the difference is more pronounced. So when we look at that term, because it is an umbrella term for a lot of different conditions, maybe you're familiar with ADHD, autism, dyslexia. They all fall into that space. And same with mental health conditions such as depression. And now people are studying what's called acquired neurodivergence. If you're surrounded by people that are constantly changing focus on what they're doing, it's very likely that you'll start to think the way they do.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's incredibly interesting to learn about. There are speculations that over 30% of the population has tendencies of neurodivergence. And I think it's important to recognize that there are tests psychologists will perform analysis to diagnose someone with ADHD, for example. And along with ADHD or autistic spectrum disorder, which I have both of those, you get diagnosed based on certain tendencies. And I personally don't believe that any test is perfect. I don't think it can tell you everything about yourself. I do, though, see a diagnosis as a tool because it can be helpful if I'm explaining in a conversation. Hey, let me know if I get off topic. Let me know if I interrupt you out of turn because I've learned that I do have that tendency and I'll do it without realizing.
Oh, that's really fascinating. I understand exactly what you're saying. Knowledge is power. Self-awareness is power. Sometimes
Mm,
being diagnosed gives you the knowledge and the self-awareness so you can have more tools in order to be more effective when it comes to interacting with other people. In the realm of neurodiversity, what are the most common types, if I'm even using that word right, that we might be need to be more mindful of in the workplace?
it's interesting because I started to talk about this acquired neurodiversity,
Yeah.
and I do think that the more technology develops, the more we're expected to have results quickly, the more exacerbated our tendencies of ADHD and ADD become. So some of the traits have to do with that idea, the concept of multitasking.
If that's a diagnosis of neurodiversity, I would say we all have that.
Yeah, and some people are more resilient to it than others. And I'm a firm believer that intention does allow us to create more of the person we want to be. So as soon as we bring awareness to our tendencies, like I said, I'll share sometimes that I talk out of turn in a meeting. If another person can remind me after the meeting, right? It doesn't have to be in the moment. But then every time I go back into the meeting with the same group of people, I can think about it. And I can realize, yes, I was really excited and I obviously wanted to share my idea, but let's look at how the meeting will flow more ideally when we all get a chance to contribute.